Total Extreme Wrestling 2016.
Cool. Real blast from the past 4 years ago.
Wow, it's a 4-year-old game. Do you have any idea what this is?
No. Is it? Well, I had a TNA Impact game on 360. Is it one of those firms? What is? Is it Japanese? Is it?
No. So what? So I wanted that TNA game because I was watching TNA when that came out. Actually, I don't know why I never bought it. Funny enough, I looked at a review it was probably about 5 weeks ago. I looked at a review of TNA the wrestling game.
Oh, yeah. And
it's an IGN one. And guess who was reviewing it?
Mr. Greg Miller.
Mr. Game Over Greg himself.
Really? Yeah. He's a huge wrestling fan.
Yeah. Anyway, Total Extreme Wrestling is nothing like that.
Right.
So, I used to play... This used to be a free game. I used to play a game called Extreme Warfare. And essentially what it is, it's a text-based game, so it's like a little window that's PC only. I think you can play it on a tablet, but I wouldn't be trusting it. And you run your own wrestling promotion.
Oh, wow.
And that's basically it. So what I have done, Extreme Warfare I played when I was about 11 or 12 and played it sort of into my mid-teens, and what it lets you do is like sign new wrestlers, and like back then it was all WWF, so I could like sign Chris Jericho from WCW to WWF, and you choose the matches, choose like the feuds, and then the game would like decide the outcome based on the stats. Now it's kind of changed. It's now like a full blown, like what they call a wrestling booker simulator or a promoter simulator. So you now decide the outcome of the matches. And you build your own events and whatnot, and by default the game is sort of populated with a made-up universe.
Oh, right, okay.
They call it the Cornellverse, and it's all fictitious wrestling and all that stuff, like people you've never heard of. It's all made-up shit. But what 98% of people I think that actually play this game did is that people make mods for it.
Oh, right.
And the mods put it into the real world. So it brings all like the new... They build all the profiles for all the wrestlers in today's world, or even like you can get a mod that goes back to like the Attitude Era, when Jeff Hardy wasn't drugged up hanging off the ropes against Sting. And then you've got all the profiles, you've got all the stats built in, and then basically you can take control of a promotion and then run the wrestling federation. So you run all like the weekly shows, you choose who wins. There's all stats on the wrestlers and how they perform in the matches, and you can do like angles and interviews, and it's really, really in depth. Yeah, probably one of the most in depth games I've played for a long, long time. But I reckon I've put about, it doesn't have a timer on it, but I reckon I've put at least 30 hours into this.
Oh, blimey. Since
probably autumn last year. Sort of slow burner. And I sort of jump on and maybe do an hour or two here.
Yeah.
And I played like 2 years, and I took over like the new All Elite Wrestling promotion and played with them for 2 years. And yeah, it's simple, but it's in depth at the same time, in terms of you need to kind of pay attention to who your stars are, and their popularity goes up and down. If you make someone lose a lot, their popularity will go down. So it's like you can choose like a wrestler and think, right, I'm going to make him beat, I don't know, Chris Jericho, for example. But Chris Jericho has an ego, and his personality, because they've all got individualized personality stats. He might say, no, I'm not going to lose against him. So you kind of got to manage all the personalities backstage. You've got people doing drugs, like you get people like the Jeff Hardys or the Ravens of the world in, and they're always pissed up and stuff, causing problems.
Oh, wow.
And you're running like the finances, and you're running the shows and the pay-per-views and the storylines. It's impressive for what it is.
Yeah, it's a
very low
simulator.
Yeah, It's absolutely not for most people, but
No.
it's like fantasy booking basically.
Oh, wow.
And you can fiddle with the stats, and there's all sorts of things you can do. It's really crazy.
So do you watch like the wrestling matches?
No. So what you do is you book all the matches.
Right.
You say like, I want Chris Jericho versus, and I make up the names now, Cody Rhodes.
Yep.
And then you say, right, what sort of match do I want them to have?
Right.
You go, okay, I want them to have a singles match, done. And then you say, okay, do I want them to have a really intense match, or do you want them to play a safe match, or do you want them to have a car crash, as they call it, or a wild brawl? And all these different types of match types will complement or detract from the wrestler, depending on their stats. So you don't want to put like Chris Jericho in loads of hardcore matches, because that's not his gig. He's old. He's fucking nearly 50 now. So you don't want him doing that. You don't want him to have, and you choose the length of the match.
Oh, right.
So you don't want Chris Jericho to go 45 minutes at this stage of the game. He's old. He'll get tired, and that'll bring down the match rating. So you choose all these little bits and pieces. You choose who wins, who loses. You can choose who comes in to interfere. So if you've set up a storyline between Chris Jericho and someone else, you can have the other person come and interfere, so then it progresses that storyline. And then all these decisions you make per match, sounds like a lot, but you go in as depth as you want. You then run the show, and the game will work out exactly what the match rating will be. So all you'll get really is a text saying that Chris Jericho beat Cody Rhodes in 12 minutes and 56 seconds using his finisher, the Walls of Jericho. The crowd were into this. They were hot for this match, but Jericho was tiring towards the end, so that was noticeable. And then at the end, you get like a rating for the match.
Oh, okay.
So you get you can choose a number to view, or a letter grade. I was choosing letter grades, and it might be like a B or a B plus. And each match or angle you do gets rated, and then that at the end of the show, it says, right, your overall show rating was B or C. And then if you're a broadcaster, because again, this is how in depth it is, you've got broadcasters who publish and show your wrestling show. Their requirement might be minimum B plus on every show. So you then that's the sort of thing you got to go for. But it
sounds very in depth, doesn't it?
It is.
I've never heard of it.
It's pure simulator. I mean, the Extreme Warfare used to be, like I said, a free game. Then Total Extreme is like a paid game. And when they went to paid game, that's when they stopped using the real names, because they couldn't sell it because they didn't have the rights to the names.
Yeah.
But as we know of the internet,
a bit like that Pez.
A bit like Pez, adding all the save games and it's exactly like that. And you can get an up-to-date game. You can get a save, a mod that, it's not a mod, it's just a database. Right. You can get a database that starts in 1982 that has a 30-year roster, real life, kind of match. So, say in like 1988, Steve Austin will just suddenly become a character to get, but his stats are shit. Like Bret Hart will become available. All these people debut when they should do. So you could, in theory, play from like 88 up until like today, and all the wrestlers would start. I don't know how these people find the time to do all this, but eternally grateful.
That's incredible, isn't it? The champions are out there. Not all heroes wear capes.
No, agreed.
Incredible. Oh, it's an interesting game. I've never heard anything like it.
No. Good though.
Yeah, definitely. So what would you give this an official grading of?
I'm going to give it a 7.5. These 5s are getting used a lot.
Yeah, good.
Main reason for that, I feel like there's a 2020 version coming out this spring.
Okay.
And I had a little look at the improvements they're going to make, and I was like, right, that sounds a lot better. So that's really the main reason why. Yeah, there's still, it's like it looks like shit because it's a text-based game. There's a lot of screen management, like going back and forth, so they could streamline things. And some things I always feel like I'm getting screwed over on.
Right.
But Yeah, I think 7.5 is a fair score. It's been a good few hours spent, and I'll probably have a little break now until 2020 comes out and play that, I reckon.
Oh, nice.
Give that a whirl.
Oh, lovely. So that's in the book. Be interesting.
Forza Horizon 4.
Forza Horizon 4, yes.
Biff said it's a kid's game.
Biff also said he was trying to play... He wanted Gran Turismo, so he went and bought Forza. Owned both consoles at the time. Yeah. So this game, again, I went through the franchise of this fucking...
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
mentality of mine. I have to go through. I have to see the fucking cutscenes. So I played through Forza Horizon 1 on the backwards compatibility. Lovely. Number 2.
Lovely jubbly.
Number 2, I had that on game. It was one of the games for gold.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, lovely. I think the first one might have been actually as well. Yeah, so 2, thought, excellent. Then you bought number 3.
Yes.
Had your time with it. Enjoyed it. Thought, yeah. I bought it, yeah, played through, got to the cutscenes and that, the credits, and thought, excellent, that's it. And then here we go, number 4, came out to critical acclaim.
Yeah, set in England.
Set in England, yeah. British.
Does it look like England, or does it look like Scotland?
It's a bit of both.
The countryside.
It's supposed to be, yeah. It is a lot. Edinburgh's in there, but then you've got like, yeah, it's part. Maybe it's Scotland. It's supposed to. It's just no. It does say England because then you're in like the Cotswolds and stuff. So I think it's a bit of both. But you could, yeah. It must be a bit of both because you've got like little rural villages and stuff, and it's supposed to be part of like. There's not really many landmarks though, but there is in Edinburgh. But it's supposed to be set in Britain. They call it Britain.
Right.
And the theme of this game is it's set in Britain, and you go through the 4 seasons. So you've got winter, summer, spring, and autumn. And so you're just basically going round. There's, as they do with these Horizon games, it's not a simulation game. It's more arcadey. It's a big open world. Set in Britain, and you're going through these, and you just have certain subsections of races. So you have a dirt race, and then you have a leveling system where you have to get that up to say level 10, and then once you get that up to level 10, you then get what's called as a showcase race.
Yeah.
It's like
remember those from 3.
That's it. Yeah, they've introduced them into 3, I think, and then. Were they in 2? I can't remember. I don't think they were. And then, that would sort of complete that subsection. You could then continue if you like that, but that's basically what the main part of the game was, to get this up. And, that was basically it. The thing that fucking annoyed me with this game, still to this fucking day, is what I've done. I went, right, I've never played any of these Forza Horizon games. I'm going to play into completion, get to them fucking end cutscenes, and I can move on. I played through 1, 2, and 3, sorted, got to 4, done all this fucking thing, and notoriously, all these Horizon games, you do this, you go through these races, the road races, the drag racing, the street racing, the rally, whatever the fuck you're doing, drag racing. And then at the end, once you've done all these showcases, you have one final race, which is to go round the map, the whole of the outside of the map, and they call it like the final Forza Horizon map race or whatever. And that's it. You get that, and boom, a little cutscene to play, and there goes your end credits. So I've done this. I don't remember how many hours I pumped in. It wasn't a great deal. I think it was, so it was 30, 40 maybe. I'd done that. Done this. Here it comes, the big race. Excellent. Fucking work. I had to grind a little bit to get to this level 10. I had to keep doing this race to get this last showcase.
Is it like the same thing, like to grind to get more fans?
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. That's like you're leveling basically.
That's it. Yeah, you had like a currency that you could then spend on different cars.
Yes.
And then you had like a fame thing, and like a leveling system, and that was. And then I gained that up. So you you had to keep replaying missions just to get it, and then you'd also have your skill thing as well. So like the more you sort of what's the thing called, drift, like when you drift, or you had like a skill, you'd have to sort of try and do that the most you can just to get through. So it was about 28 hours I played, and I got to this final showcase, and there it was, the final mission, go round the lap. I'd done that, came first, thought excellent, game done, and then it went back to the beginning again. There was no end credits. And I thought, you fucking bastard. I thought my game was broken. I thought, I'm going to have to do it all again. But then researching the game, it was their intention to do this. They didn't want it to end. They purposely haven't released a Forza Horizon, a Forza Motorsport last year, which they normally do, typically. And that they wanted to turn Forza Horizon 4 into a games as a service type.
Right.
And this is where the downside of the game came. So you just was inundated with fucking DLC. There was cars that you couldn't get. There was races you couldn't attain because you had to partake in these DLCs.
Right, yeah.
You had a few
all paid stuff.
All paid, yeah. They had there was a few free bits and stuff. They had like little Horizon events, they called it. Where like it'd be almost like an online thing where you'd go to a certain section and you had to sort of do like skill streaks and that to try and get the most points in a certain minute, or like whilst the song's playing or something. But yeah, a lot of this was sort of almost leaning towards a sort of paywall. It wasn't, you could do it without, but it was progressing you towards doing it. And then they started to release like a Lego DLC, and
I saw that.
And that was what they were offering instead of getting a new game. So that,
well, you got the game for free, didn't you?
Well, that's the game pass. Yeah, you give it to me.
What for?
Yeah.
How did I get it?
You got it off of D-Man, I think. D-Man got it with his Xbox.
Oh yeah.
And then you went, no, I'll give it to you.
I wasn't gonna, because I thought it was a waste of me.
Yeah.
So I do some good deeds.
You do. So I took it off your hands, said, I'll complete that, and fucking couldn't. But so that was the annoying thing. But overall, like this did get real good remarks, and it is an incredible game. The thing is, it's an incredible game to me because it's the type of racing game I like. I'm not.
You ain't going to play the F1 in 2019, are you?
I bought the Horizon. No, I keep saying fucking Horizon. The Forza Motorsport 7, and I was impressed with how it looked. I think I bought it because it was like the first Xbox 4K 60 game. I remember playing it and thinking, "Fuck me, this looks incredible." But after playing Horizon game and then going back to the original Motorsport, I was so bored playing it. It was just like there's no music in the background, and it's just on a track going round. And bored the fucking shit out of me. So I like this sort of open world. I was a huge fan of the Need for Speed games as a kid, or not as a kid, as a young adult, really, playing like the underground games and that. So this type of game really does appeal to me. And I thought it was a great game, but there wasn't a lot different from 3, to be honest, other than the sort of new setting and a new story. In 2 you had the was it 1? No, 1 was the festival, wasn't it? 2 was like a race through Europe, I think it was. You went from like France to Italy. 3 set in Australia.
Yes, that's it, yeah.
And then 4's in Britain, going through the seasons. So other than a sort of new coat of paint in the settings and that, it is more of the same from 3. You've got the same sort of systems, you've got the same activities you can partake in. So you've got like the speed traps you can go through, the jumps every now and again, individual races you can attach. You collect the cars, you can do them up. You've got barns you can find to to do. I'll go. Like I say, it is an incredible game for what it is, but it wasn't like I didn't get that sort of amazing game of the year accolade that the people, like the real critics, were saying.
Yeah.
Just because it felt, maybe because I played through them so quick in succession that
drilled them out in quick succession.
There wasn't a lot different from 4. I think if you've got 3, you're not going to get a much different experience playing 4 other than the setting. It boiled down, it's the same game. It's the same, it's an arcadey open world racing game. And there's a lot of fun to be had in that. It's definitely a great game with that. But yeah, it wasn't the icing on the cake that a lot of these fans would say. So yeah, an overall good experience, I'd say.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's impressive that you got through fucking 4 Forza games in short time, and then still had the patience to go through this latest one. What's going to be the final score for Forza Horizon 4?
I'm going to give it an 8.5 because it is good. Like I say, I really like the music in the game. It fit this type of racing. There's like a lot of different variety of radio stations you get, but I warmed to one channel which was like a drum and bass channel. And that's not typically...
Lay down some drum and bass shit on it.
I certainly wouldn't really listen to that sort of music sat at home, head banging at my desk. But in that sort of environment, it reminded me of playing games like... what was on the fucking PlayStation, the original? Oh, fuck. Oh, Ridge Racer. Ridge Racer. It reminded me of that, listening to that sort of techno drum and bass music, and it fits so well with racing games that's what I really listened to. So I really dug it. But there's a few things that hold it back from being a real great, incredible game, and like I say, a lack of innovation. I'd say they didn't really bring a lot new to the table.
No,
certainly from 3, and there's only 2 years apart, I think, because they tend to do that. So it'd be interesting to see what they do. Like normally this year 2020 would be a Horizon game, but obviously I think they won't do that. It'd be interesting to see if they do a motorsport this year, or fuck.
Maybe they're saving it for launch.
Yeah, fuck the whole thing off. Yeah, I suppose with the new Xbox, they're gonna. Yeah, it could come with a launch title. So I'm sure we'll see that at E3, but yeah, Forza Horizon 4, good, decent. I wouldn't say simulation fans, the chappers of the world, yourself maybe. There's not a lot in here for the real hardcore sports gamers, but if you're a Burnout fan, you're laughing your tits off because there's plenty there to do, and customization and that. So 8.5 for the boys at Horizon.
Gorgeous. Deliverance, Kingdom Come.
Cool.
One of my jobbies.
Jobby for you.
I mean...
what are we looking at here? Are we Game of Thrones in? Are we Witcher in? What are we talking?
We're actually doing none of that.
No? We're doing...
Well, in terms... what we're doing is we're playing an open world Bethesda game.
Oh, really? A buggy dribble mess.
You hit it always now on the head. We're playing that, but what we're playing, the setting of the game is medieval.
Right.
Not fantasy.
Ah, right.
So I think it's 15th century Bohemia.
Ooh, blimey.
And it's first person only.
Oh.
So it's a real blow. But...
we're going to leave that one.
We're going to leave that then. But it's in the same vein of a Skyrim or a Fallout in the fact that it's first person, the combat's a bit clunky, and there's lots of bugs and whatnot. But it's a very interesting game to play because Kingdom Come is obsessed with realism.
Yeah, I remember that being one of the standout comments of when that first game, people were saying it was so realistic.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know why it is, but at least they commit to it fully.
Right.
Other than the bug, obviously, when someone's floating in the air, I don't remember seeing that in 15th century Premiere, and I wasn't even there. But I don't know why that is, but at least they stick to it in all facets, and what that kind of creates is a set of rules that you can almost follow and not be too pissed off if you break them. There's a lot of dialogue in the game.
Right.
It's generally quite good. Some of the voiceovers go from good to toilet.
Oh, really?
Like the guy that plays Henry sounds like a goon. I think I said that before on a previous podcast, but he sounds like a goon.
Right.
But I'm torn with this because there's aspects of the games that I appreciate in the fact that they really go out of their way to make it realistic and stick to it, but then does that create a fun game to play? At times it does.
Right.
Other times you think, what's going on here? I've got a fucking hangover in the game and it's costing me stats. But then that adds to it, 'cause it's like you go out on the piss one night and then you wake up and it'll have a little status effect and it'll be hangover. And what it'll do is it'll take off things like your dexterity will decrease by 1, and other bits and pieces will go up, like your charm might go up a little bit because you're a little bit like, ooh. And I think the biggest problem is that it's not for everyone.
No.
And the bugs are the bugs. You can't really, objectively, you can't defend that. But I think in terms of a game that is a simulation of medieval Bohemia, I think it's about as close as you're going to get, really. Who
made it? Is it an independent thing or?
Yeah, it was. I think they were called Warhorse Studios. I must admit, I'm not familiar with their work at all. Yeah, Warhorse Studios. It was originally, I believe, crowdfunded.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
So it came out of that sort of...
Yeah.
Oh, and yeah, and it's all etched in, like, Europe of that time.
Right.
Like, having done a bit of research afterwards, some of the events that took place, all of, like, the cities and the towns are all real named towns and whatnots, and looks like they've done the locations as best they could, basically. But story's pretty good. You're just a little like blacksmith son called Henry, and you're basically working your way up the ladder of the social hierarchy, I guess.
Yeah. And
there's an ongoing conflict between like your side of the argument and another side, so that's where the conflict comes in.
Yeah.
Attention to detail in sometimes, like I said, is pretty incredible when it comes to like status effects, and you've got to sleep, you got to eat. It's got these survival elements, but they're not overbearing.
Right, oh, that's good.
But really, the main criticism is those technical bugs.
Oh, yeah. Not a lot of combat in there. You said. I remember you saying like you hadn't killed many people. So. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. You didn't
now
think in a game like that its main focus would sort of be combat and sword play.
This is the thing. You could be a knight in this if you wanted to. You could you can do that. You can, and you never be a knight because you don't have a class system. But you can work towards being a knight.
Oh.
And I guess that's the way to be doing it, is that you can essentially choose that path, because the way that you update your stats and upgrade your stats is by carrying out the tasks that you want to upgrade in. So say you want to be better at hand-to-hand combat. Well, you get in more fights in hand-to-hand combat.
Oh, okay.
And that's the way you level up everything. Like, you want to improve your charm. Okay, you try charming people when you talk to people. There's no like you get a stat, you get 10 stats to apply to like strength, dexterity, and whatnot. This is all your strength, all your speed is all done by the actions you take. So you sprint a lot more, your endurance will go up more. you get on your horse more, you'll be more capable, being a horse master or whatever. And you get perks that you can spend points on. So that might be when you're hungover, you get a double XP boost on your charm or something like that. And really, everything you do, you leaves a little footprint, a little footprint of you've gone down this path, you've killed this person, so your stats have improved, or you've upset the town because someone found the body. I remember I was saying to you, I don't know if it was you, but there was I went for a stage where I stole everything in this game.
Oh, that's
nicked
right, yes.
Nicked as much as I could because when people weren't looking. You get caught nicking stuff though, people will catch you and you get put in prison and all that shit. So I do all that, but then other than that, I was a pretty good guy. Unless I was just wandering around in the field and there's a random person around, and I'd kill them. In cold blood. I'd murder them and thieve off them because I knew I wouldn't get caught.
That's the thing. It's not like GTA when you're in the middle of a field and then fucking old Bill suddenly turn up and you think, how's he seen that?
No, someone has to see it, otherwise it's not gonna.
That's incredible. It's
not gonna go. And the worst things about the game is the technical stuff, as I said.
Yep.
Load times. Oh, good lord.
Yeah. And you had to play this on your Xbox in the end, didn't you?
Yeah, because the PC. It wasn't the game on the PC. It was the PC that was broke.
PC was broke.
Yeah,
I was the PS2 thing.
Piece of tit. But the combat itself is actually probably one of the more. It's clunky.
Yeah.
But it's trying to simulate what hand-to-hand combat's like.
Right, gotcha.
I kind of half appreciate that, but at the same time, to play it as a game, at times I was like, good lord. Good lord.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing if they're going for the reason, like you say, the realism thing, and they're fully committing. And then at the other time, you're thinking, well, it's a video game.
Yeah.
Who'll be playing this? Yes, it's half and half, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not for everyone for various reasons, but if nothing else, it just shows that a role-playing game doesn't have to be all fantasy and stuff.
No.
It can be etched in just realism, and the detail is impressive. The actual world they've built is impressive. The characters they've built are impressive. The interactions that you can have with the characters are impressive, but bugs and just an overall level of clunkiness that just is completely over the top of it, just mars it slightly. So yeah, decent, but long and absolutely not for everyone.
No. Okay, so what are we going to give this Deliverance?
6.5.
6.5. Them bugs are too much for the boy to handle. He gives his lowest score since
sliced bread. I can't remember.
No, I can't remember your last score. It's probably what's it called? Shadow of War. Got 6.5, I think. And there you go, bottom of the barrel sort of. No, it's 6.5 is still a game I'd probably play. 7 out of 10 almost. Yeah. You could have a much enjoyment. There's people out there that love it. So
it's just too sloppy to give it a 7. That they recommend the little bronze medal. It's just a bit too sloppy. So unfortunately, it hurt it, but it is what it is.
Yep, perfect.
We now have lost me fucking tabs as usual. Mario Tennis Aces. This was a freebie as far as I remember.
Freebie indeed, yeah. I'm surprised they haven't.
Time pressure, I've been told.
Oh, it really fucking was. Time pressure indeed. It was supposed to be like a demo, but it was like a 10-hour demo you had. So they've done this before with a couple of demos. I can't remember what it was now. They've done it with Resident Evil 2, didn't they? On the consoles, but on what was it? On the Switch. I'm trying to think what games it was. There was a demo where you had a certain amount of time to play it, and there's one where I think it was like Dragon Ball Z, and you could only load the demo up about 3 times or something like that. It was a weird situation. Anyway, they announced this, that with the online membership that you now get with Nintendo Switch, that you was getting this 10-hour preview of Mario Tennis. So you could play it as much as you wanted for 10 hours, and then you could also buy it at a reduced rate, and your save would transfer over. So I had a little look at it and went onto a little website that I like to use a lot called howlongtobeat.com, and I found out that the campaign was about 5 hours long. So I thought, oh, excellent. So I thought gave it a little install, played through the campaign and that, and it was fucking frustrating. It was, it was what you would expect from a Mario tennis game.
Yes,
it was quite good. It had this, you had this little campaign which was sort of set up in a very Mario-esque style. You had like a map, different points you have to get from one end to the other of the map, stopping on your way, and then each way you'd have this little. At first, it would be like a normal tennis match, and then they'd sort of throw in some obstacles in the way that you'd have a tennis match, but with the fucking piranha plants in the middle, and you're like, right, do that. Then you had little subsections where you'd go off of the beaten path, and you'd have like these little challenge things you could do. So you've got to hit like a target thing that's spinning round, so you've got to hit them every time. And then, so you sort of going your way through the map thinking, lovely, this is fine, I can play this, got this on normal difficulty. And all of a fucking sudden, you just have this gigantic fucking spike in difficulty. You get to, like, I think it was like Dry Bones or someone like to play a game against, and I thought, I'll mug this little fucker off. And it was fucking ridiculously hard. I don't know where it came from, and apparently that's just how the game is. There's just these couple, I think it's about two, I think it's him and Bowser, and they're just incredibly fucking hard. And it took me, I nearly blew the 10 hours, I think, just by fucking playing it. Or I think I ended up playing, I think it's about 8 or 9 hours I think I spent doing it. But it's a 5-hour campaign, you could blitz through it if you're good enough.
Yeah.
These two battles that were fucking so hard.
Can you level up to make it easier?
Yeah, basically, you level up the rack that you have.
Right.
So along the way, you could find new racks, and then each time you win a game, you level up, and you can go back and replay that same match to level up. So you could sort of farm it, and that's the only way I could actually do it. I had to go back in the end to level it up, because there's like a mechanism in the game where you'd go into like a sort of slow motion mode, and you'd be able to sort of hit a power stance, like a power shot that would be unbreakable. And when the opposition used to do that against you, you had to try and parry it. But when you parried it, it would you'd have like a sort of health bar on your racket, and it would just deplete. And then once it depletes, it snaps, and that's it, and you lost the game.
Right.
So every time, like I say, when I was playing these two fucking hard bastards, they just kept snapping me rackets. I was like, for fuck's sake. So, ended up having to go back and replay it just to build up and get a few more rackets. And then to actually get past them, and the joy is like fucking beating a Bloodborne boss. It was that sense of relief of getting two. And that was the thing, I'd get past him and I was thinking, right, now I'm going to have to do someone even harder. And it would go back to piss easy fucking difficulty again. It was so strange. It was an odd decision. But finally got past those two, like I say, after a bit of grinding and getting some extra XP and boosting up my things. And then, it came to a small little conclusion, and the story, pretty standard stuff, what you'd expect from a Mario game. Yeah. The story, you're going through the Mario world, a few characters and that, and doubles, the standard sort of tennis stuff. You had double matches, singles and that. But that's pretty much all I played. I didn't delve into the online. I didn't think very good playing against the AI, so... but I just thought I'd take upon the freebie. Presentation-wise, looked fantastic. What you'd expect from a Nintendo Mario game. Ran seamlessly well. Pretty sure it ran at 60, I think, which which is impressive for a Nintendo game. But being a fast action tennis game, I suppose it needs to be. I suppose maybe. But yeah, it was quite impressive. Like I say, I didn't delve into any of the single player match. I don't know what was on offer there. I'm assuming they had some sort of fun modes rather than just the standard sort of competition mode.
Yeah,
You do your Mario Wimbledon. But yeah, something I wouldn't.
Something for the old people.
Something for the old people, I'd say. The thing is, these type of games, they never go down in price. So this is one I'd probably recommend, but getting at a lower price. Yeah. But you don't be getting these for fucking lower prices. These stay at fucking 40, 50 quid.
Yeah, it seems steep.
Yeah. So, yeah. If you're into that type of game, it would be a very good party game, I think, as well. It's quite good for the old Wii. When you had your mates round or your nan round and you're playing fucking tennis. I didn't do it myself, but you can also take the Joy-Cons out and, do the old motion sensor. But I didn't do that, unfortunately, but I know that's something you can do. So, yeah, there's a campaign, which seems to be the way now with these games. You get like these sports games that have a little campaign. There we got like Mario Maker's got a campaign.
Yeah.
So, yeah, worth a little dabble if you can get it, if they do a freebie again, but I didn't think there was enough there for a full price purchase.
No.
So, Mr. Sam would say otherwise because he bought it.
Bloody loved it, he said. What's the official grading for Mario Tennis Aces? Sweet.
I'm going to give a flat 7. For
a flat 7
for tennis, Mario Tennis Aces. Yeah, nice little short campaign, excellent presentation, enough there for tennis fans and Mario fans alike. But that fucking difficulty spike was ridiculous and pointless. Would not be impressed by that. Silly.
No, especially when you're on a time commitment.
Especially your main demographic for this is kids. Don't think kids would get sick of it. Me as a grown adult struggled. And I play games most days. Well,
and you didn't need that.
I didn't need that in my life. So, 5-year-old kid can't get past that. That's it. He's stuck. He ain't gonna know to go back and fucking grind out XP. Doesn't tell you to do that. To fucking Google it.
Bloody naughty.
Yeah, that's Mario Tennis's.
Life is Strange 2.
Oh, one I like to.
One of my jobbies.
I loved the bloody first game. But
you played it?
Yeah, played it. I platinumed it.
Bloody hell.
PS4 Plus game. Platinumed it. Fucking loved it. Thought it was a brilliant
This one's on Game Pass.
Cool, but I feel I can't play it because I ain't played that bloody Before the Storm shit.
That was a freebie, wasn't it?
What was?
You don't need to play. Alright, you don't need to play Before the Storm.
Oh, do you not?
No. Before the Storm is a standalone prequel to Life is Strange 1.
Oh, and 2.
So that's Max and Chloe's story.
Yeah, that's it.
Life is Strange 2, this is, guess, a good starting point, is a completely separate story.
Oh,
so you ain't got to worry about... If you played the OG base game, you're good. Right. You don't even really need to play that. There's very, very little... There's no crossover in that.
Because there was another little tiny crossover in the same universe when it's some superhero kid or something.
Yes, Chris or whatever his name.
I know.
There was like that little freebie prequel thing. That's worth playing, but not essential.
Right.
Actually, I'd say it's only like an hour or so long. It's probably worth just doing that, and I'm sure it's a freebie anyway.
Right.
So that's worth doing.
But number 2,
The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit.
That was the one. I knew it's something Captain, some sort of superhero. So yeah, number 2. It's a bit confusing because people are thinking, I'm carrying on Chloe's story, but no.
You're not. This is completely separate. You're going to take the role of a chap named Sean Diaz.
Ooh, one of the Diaz brothers.
Lives in Seattle, yeah. And you're going to spend a lot of time with your little brother Daniel Diaz.
Oh, God.
And I don't want to give too much away because these games do depend a lot on the story, but the general premise is that Daniel, the younger brother, which is a bit of a flip from the first game, Daniel has like telekinesis powers basically. You don't control Daniel. you're Sean, the older brother, and rather than like with I think it was Max, wasn't it, in Life is Strange 1, you could turn back time, so you was in control of turning back time and making decisions. This time you're not. You haven't got that ability. You essentially trying to, bring up Daniel and make sure he makes the right decisions with his powers, but you're slung into all sorts of different situations and areas, and it's a 5-episode run. I played it from the first episode that came out, and it came out in September 2018, the first episode. Really? It finished December 2019.
Cool.
So it was over a year. Now, anyone listening to this who hasn't played it is fortunate enough that you can just play it in one go. But that probably did hurt it a little bit. That was a long, long time to dwell on this. It was kind of good in a way, but sometimes you just want to get on with it. But I don't know if it'll take anything of the score. I don't think it will. But overall, it's good. Like I said, it's you're not involved with actually controlling the sort of power this time.
No. It's a different take. It sounds like to be stripped away of that and to teach someone sort of, oversee them. Yeah, it's a different take on it. I quite like the idea of that.
You can kind of tell them when you can ask them to use the power in certain situations. So, but you're not directly in control. They could say no. I guess the good thing about the game is that the plot's tremendous, the music's tremendous, the characters are tremendous, and also there's a lot of agency in dialogue choices and just choices in general. And there's a lot of outcomes that can come off the back of this.
Excellent.
Like there's always at the end of the episode, it will show you your percentages for who done what. And some of them, there's like 5 outcomes, and you're like, good Lord, how has anyone even got that 4th outcome? It just makes you wonder, and you think, Christ.
That's incredible, isn't it? Yeah, I remember thinking that when I played the first game, I thought it sort of almost perfected the Telltale formula.
Yeah, beating at the wrong gear.
Yeah, and the points that you just made, I remember thinking the music of the first one I loved. It sort of sat so well with that style of game and the sort of tone and setting of it. So it's good to hear that number 2 is following suit.
Yeah, there's not a great deal to complain about this. I mean, I don't think it's as strong as the first one.
No. Remember the puzzles and that? Good. There's a lot of puzzle elements in there. Is that sort of back again?
Yeah, I don't think there is. I don't remember there being... Yeah. There's a few bits where I was a bit like, I don't really know what to do yet.
No.
And there's a few situations you're a bit like, But in general, as a 5-episode run, worth a playthrough for sure for those that enjoyed the first one. Like I said, you haven't got to worry about Before the Storm, not relevant. If you got the time, play Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. But main thing is, if you get a chance, give Life is Strange 2 a go. No complaints.
Good on that Game Pass. Okay, so would you like to give your score for Life is Strange 2?
I'm going to give it silver 8.5, Johnny.
Cool, beautiful. That's a very respectable score.
Yeah, I gave the original one a 9, so I feel like this is just slightly off that.
Yep.
But still really good from Don't Nod. Like really impressed with what they've done. So don't sleep on it. If you enjoyed the first one, absolutely jump into this one. It's great.
Beautiful.